Friendship is one of the most beautiful connections a human being can experience. Yet, it comes with its own set of challenges. How do you know if someone is truly loyal without putting them in extreme situations or testing their patience unnecessarily? Today, we'll explore practical ways to gauge the loyalty of your friends, using real-life examples and actionable insights that you can apply immediately in your daily life. First, let's start with understanding what loyalty in friendship really means. Loyalty isn't about blind agreement or always saying yes. True loyalty is about consistency, reliability, trustworthiness, and integrity. A loyal friend is someone who stands by you not only in happy moments, but also when things get complicated. The challenge is to identify these qualities without creating artificial stress or staging a crisis. One of the simplest ways to gauge loyalty is through consistency in communication. Pay attention to how your friends interact with you over time. For example, a friend who regularly checks in, even with a simple message like, "Hey, how's your day going?" is demonstrating a pattern of care. On the contrary, if someone only appears when they need something, it's a clear red flag. Consider a real scenario. Jane noticed that her friend Mark only called her when he needed advice on work, but never once asked about her well-being. Jane didn't create a test. She observed behavior over several months and concluded that Mark's loyalty was more self-serving than mutual. Next, observe how they handle confidential information. Sharing something personal with a friend and watching how they respond can reveal a lot about their loyalty. This doesn't mean you should dump all your secrets on them immediately. Start small. For instance, share a minor personal experience or a small challenge you faced and see how they react. Do they respond with empathy, support, and discretion? Or do they casually spread it to others? Loyal friends respect your boundaries and your privacy. A real-life example is Ravi, who confided in his friend Samir about a minor health scare. Samir didn't bring it up in public or with other friends. Instead, he checked in on Ravi a few days later, demonstrating trustworthiness and loyalty without any formal test being conducted. Another key indicator is how they support your goals and aspirations. A loyal friend will celebrate your wins without envy and provide constructive support during setbacks. This doesn't require staged scenarios. Observe their natural responses. For example, when Lisa got promoted at work, her friend Priya was genuinely excited, offered congratulations, and even helped Lisa plan a small celebration. That's loyalty in action. On the other hand, if a friend subtly downplays your achievements or seems indifferent, it might indicate a lack of true loyalty. This isn't about expecting perfection. It's about consistent, positive reinforcement over time. Emotional availability is another crucial factor. Loyal friends are emotionally present when you need them. They listen without judgment and offer support, whether through advice or simply by being there. This can be observed in everyday situations. When you're upset, do they notice and reach out, or do they ignore your distress? Take the example of Ahmed, whose friend Carla noticed he had a rough day at work through a casual conversation. Without being asked, she sent a thoughtful message, offered to meet for coffee, and just listened to him vent. This demonstrates that loyalty is not about grand gestures, but about subtle, consistent care. Now, let's discuss how they behave when you are absent. True loyalty is revealed in your absence. Observe what people say about you when you're not around. Loyal friends avoid gossip and negative talk. For instance, when Sarah went on a week-long vacation, she later learned that her friend Sam had defended her in a group chat against some casual rumors. Sam didn't have to be reminded or tested. His loyalty showed in his natural, protective behavior. Conversely, friends who engage in backbiting or negative talk may lack genuine loyalty, and it's important to recognize this before deeper trust is established. Another practical way to gauge loyalty is through reciprocity and fairness in the relationship. Friendship is not transactional, but there should be a balance over time. A loyal friend invests time, effort, and care in the relationship without keeping score. For example, if you notice that you are always the one initiating contact, offering help, or organizing meets, while the other party rarely reciprocates, it may indicate a lack of true loyalty. This doesn't require confrontation. Simply observing patterns over months can reveal the nature of the friendship. Testing through shared values and boundaries can also be revealing. Loyal friends respect your values even if they differ from their own. For instance, if you have a boundary about work-life balance, a loyal friend will not pressure you to compromise it. Real-life example: David enjoys attending late-night parties, but knows that his friend Priya prioritizes rest and family time. Instead of insisting she joins, he respects her choice. This mutual respect indicates loyalty because the friendship doesn't demand conformity. It thrives on understanding. Another subtle effective method is introducing small favors or opportunities to help. Notice who responds positively without expecting anything in return. For example, Mia offered to help her friend John with a minor task at his startup. John reciprocated when the opportunity arose, not out of obligation, but naturally. This mutual support, free of staged challenges, reflects genuine loyalty. It's also important to consider how they handled disagreements or conflicts. True loyalty is not blind obedience. It's the ability to engage honestly while respecting the friendship. Observe how they act during disagreements. Do they maintain respect, offer solutions, or lash out and abandon the friendship? For instance, when two colleagues, Emma and Ryan, disagreed over a group project, Ryan didn't hold grudges or cut Emma off. He communicated openly, and their friendship grew stronger. Loyal friends can disagree yet remain supportive. Lastly, don't underestimate the power of observation over time. Loyalty is best measured, not through dramatic tests or sudden challenges, but by watching patterns in behavior consistently. Keep a mental note of who shows up, who communicates consistently, who respects boundaries, and who celebrates your achievements. These small but consistent actions reveal loyalty far more accurately than any artificial test. In conclusion, testing a friend's loyalty doesn't require elaborate schemes or putting them in uncomfortable situations. Observe consistency, confidentiality, emotional availability, support for your goals, respect for boundaries, reciprocity, and how they behave in your absence. Use real-life examples, subtle observations, and natural interactions. Over time, these small, everyday actions will give you a clear picture of who your loyal friends truly are. Remember, the goal isn't to catch someone in disloyalty, but to understand the dynamics of your friendship and ensure that the people you invest your time and energy in are trustworthy, supportive, and genuine. Moving forward, another critical way to assess a friend's loyalty is through observing their behavior in group dynamics. A loyal friend will treat you with respect, regardless of who else is around. Sometimes, friends behave differently in public than in private. For instance, Alex noticed that his friend Tanya would always agree with him in private, but constantly contradicted him in social gatherings, often making jokes at his expense. Over time, he realized that her behavior wasn't about playful teasing, it was a lack of respect for his reputation. In contrast, a truly loyal friend celebrates your presence without trying to elevate themselves at your expense. Another practical approach is to watch how they react to your successes and failures over time. You don't need to create a fake scenario to test this. Simply observe their natural reactions. Loyal friends will feel genuine happiness for your achievements, even when those achievements do not directly benefit them. For example, when Nina received a scholarship for her studies abroad, her friend Rohan didn't show envy or indifference. Instead, he helped her prepare for the move and offered encouragement, showing loyalty through support. Conversely, friends who respond with subtle jealousy or dismissiveness are revealing priorities that don't align with true loyalty. It's also useful to notice who is willing to invest effort without immediate reward. True loyalty doesn't seek instant gratification. For instance, when you need someone to help with a long-term project or accompany you on a tedious task, loyal friends participate willingly without expecting recognition or reward. Sarah's friend Liam would often accompany her to volunteer events, not because he wanted praise, but because he valued her trust and friendship. This level of commitment demonstrates loyalty in a practical and observable way. Pay attention to how they handle minor inconveniences for your sake. Loyalty is often expressed in small actions rather than grand gestures. For example, if a friend reschedules their own plans to support you during a minor emergency, it shows that they prioritize the friendship without needing to be tested. Real-life example: Kevin's car broke down on a rainy evening. Without hesitation, his friend Tara drove over to help him get home safely, refusing any compensation. This small act of selfless care speaks volumes about her loyalty. Another important dimension is how they react when you ask for honest feedback. A loyal friend will provide constructive criticism with empathy rather than avoiding the truth to please you or being harsh to assert dominance. For instance, Priya asked her friend Daniel for feedback on a project proposal. Daniel pointed out areas for improvement in a respectful manner, demonstrating both honesty and loyalty. Friends who consistently avoid honesty, even in minor situations, may not be loyal in the deeper sense, because they prioritize comfort over truthfulness. The test of inclusion and advocacy is subtle, but powerful. A loyal friend will advocate for you when you aren't present and ensure you are included in important events or opportunities. For instance, when Mike organized a community meet, his friend Zara made sure to mention him when relevant discussions came up, ensuring his contributions were recognized. This type of behavior shows that loyalty isn't just about direct interaction. It's also about representing and protecting your interests when you're not there to do so yourself. Now, consider how friends behave when faced with minor conflicts of interest. This can reveal much about loyalty without creating major stress. For example, if two friends are both up for the same recognition or opportunity, observe whether they encourage each other or let competitiveness compromise the friendship. Real example: two co-workers, Hannah and Leo, were both shortlisted for a promotion. Leo congratulated Hannah genuinely and even offered tips to help her succeed, showing loyalty and integrity. Friends who sabotage your progress for personal gain are not demonstrating loyalty, and such patterns become clear through natural observation over time. Another practical indicator is their consistency in keeping promises. Loyalty often manifests through reliability. Notice whether your friend follows through on commitments, whether big or small. For instance, if a friend promises to help you move furniture or attend an important meeting, and they consistently show up, this reliability is a clear sign of loyalty. On the other hand, habitual flakiness signals a lack of respect for your time and trust. Real-life example: Emma's friend John always remembered important dates, returned borrowed items promptly, and followed through on plans. This consistency made Emma confident in John's loyalty without ever needing a formal test. How they treat mutual friends or acquaintances also reflects loyalty. Observe whether your friend behaves differently towards you compared to others, especially those who might challenge or disagree with them. A loyal friend treats everyone with respect, but also prioritizes protecting your reputation when needed. For example, Raj noticed that his friend Anita defended him politely when another friend misrepresented facts about him, even in casual conversations. This demonstrates loyalty in action without any staged situation. Another subtle yet revealing practice is sharing responsibilities or hardships. Loyalty is often about mutual support rather than taking advantage. If your friend shares burdens, whether emotional, physical, or professional, it shows commitment to the relationship. For instance, When Maya faced a demanding work project, her friend Leo offered help with research and deadlines, without being asked. Over time, these small, consistent gestures built trust and reinforced loyalty organically. It's also important to pay attention to how they behave when they gain something from your misfortune. This doesn't mean you create misfortune to test them, but you can observe natural situations. For instance, if a colleague gains recognition for an opportunity that you also competed for, a loyal friend will celebrate your achievements separately and maintain support, rather than gloating at your setback. Loyal friends avoid taking advantage of your vulnerabilities, which reflects their integrity. The role of empathy in loyalty cannot be overstated. Loyal friends demonstrate an understanding of your feelings, even without you having to express them. They sense when you are upset, anxious, or stressed, and offer support proactively. For example, Jessica noticed her friend Paul sensed her tension during a team presentation. He sent a thoughtful message afterward, checking on her well-being, without her prompting him. Such intuitive care is a hallmark of loyalty. Lastly, observe their reaction to your social and personal boundaries. Respecting boundaries, whether emotional, financial, or personal, reflects loyalty. A friend who constantly pressures you to cross limits for their convenience is prioritizing their own needs over the friendship. Real-life example: Sam didn't push his friend Clara to attend a late-night event because she had family commitments. Instead, he respected her choice and later updated her about the highlights, maintaining connection without imposing. In summary, loyalty can be observed naturally through behavior in groups, reactions to success or failure, effort without expectation, handling of minor inconveniences, honesty and feedback, advocacy, consistency, empathy, and respect for boundaries. These indicators allow you to gauge a friend's loyalty without staging any artificial tests or creating stress. The key takeaway is that loyalty reveals itself over time through repeated, consistent actions, subtle care, and mutual respect. By paying attention to these natural behaviors and patterns, you can identify who genuinely values your friendship and acts in alignment with it. Another highly effective way to gauge loyalty is by observing how your friends treat your time and commitments. Time is one of the most valuable resources, and a loyal friend respects it. They show up when promised, avoid unnecessary delays, and do not take advantage of your availability. For example, Hannah noticed that her friend Mark would never be late for planned meetings, and when he couldn't make it, he would inform her in advance and reschedule without excuses. On the contrary, friends who repeatedly cancel plans, arrive late without apology, or fail to respect your schedule may lack genuine loyalty. Observing such patterns over weeks and months can reveal the underlying reliability of a friendship. Another subtle but important indicator is how they react when you set boundaries. Loyalty is not about unconditional compliance. It's about respect. A loyal friend will understand your limits without resentment. For instance, Daniel was trying to focus on a personal project and politely asked his friend Carla not to disturb him during certain hours. Carla respected his request and only reached out when appropriate. This demonstrated loyalty because she prioritized his needs without compromising the friendship. Friends who constantly push boundaries or disregard your requests may not be genuinely loyal, no matter how friendly they seem in casual settings. Financial interactions can also be revealing, though they should be observed naturally, without forcing situations. For instance, if a friend borrows money or shares resources, observe their approach to repayment or reciprocity. Loyal friends handle such matters with integrity and honesty. Real-life example: Lucas lent a small sum to his friend Nina for a temporary need. Nina returned it promptly, without reminders, and expressed gratitude, showing responsibility and respect. On the contrary, friends who avoid accountability or manipulate situations for financial gain reflect a lack of loyalty. These interactions provide a practical and observable method to assess character without staging any tests. Another practical method is how they support your emotional growth and self-improvement. Loyal friends encourage you to be your best self, even if it means pointing out flaws or suggesting changes. For example, Priya gently told her friend Ramesh when he was procrastinating on a career goal, offering constructive advice and practical solutions. She didn't criticize him harshly or judge him, but her honest guidance reflected her loyalty. Friends who avoid honesty or discourage growth to maintain comfort are not acting out of loyalty. They are prioritizing their own ease over your development. Observe how friends behave during everyday inconveniences. Loyalty often shows up in small, seemingly insignificant moments. For example, when Sarah's car broke down on a rainy day, her friend John didn't hesitate to help her get to a safe place. Acts like these, though minor, reveal consistent care and reliability over time. Similarly, friends who avoid helping with simple tasks or never offer support during daily challenges might not be fully loyal. Even if they appear supportive in grander circumstances, shared celebrations and hardships are also powerful indicators. Loyalty isn't about occasional gestures. It's about being present consistently in both joy and adversity. Observe who celebrates your achievements genuinely and who provides comfort during difficult times. For instance, when Maya got her dream job, her friend Leo celebrated enthusiastically and helped her prepare for new challenges. Conversely, when she faced setbacks, he remained present and supportive without being asked. This balance of celebration and support is a hallmark of loyalty, naturally observed in real life. Another subtle, yet practical approach is watching their reaction when others criticize or challenge you. Loyal friends stand by you without being defensive or aggressive, offering support while maintaining perspective. For example, when Emma faced harsh comments at work, her friend Priya didn't lash out at the critics, but instead provided guidance, reassurance, and a listening ear. Loyal friends don't need staged situations to reveal their allegiance. They naturally protect your interests while maintaining integrity. Testing through shared responsibilities can also be insightful. Observe whether your friends share the load in projects, plans, or activities. Loyalty manifests in cooperative effort without complaint or expectation of immediate reward. For example, Kevin's friend Tara consistently contributed to joint projects, whether planning events or helping with communal tasks. This demonstrated reliability and mutual respect, reflecting loyalty in everyday actions. On the other hand, friends who consistently shirk responsibilities, leaving you to manage alone, may lack genuine investment in the friendship. Another key aspect is how they handle your social reputation. Loyal friends act in ways that protect and respect your image, both privately and publicly. For instance, when Raj was misunderstood in a group discussion, his friend Anita clarified the situation discreetly, ensuring he wasn't unfairly judged. This kind of behavior demonstrates loyalty, as it reflects care for your well-being and integrity without any prompting. Conversely, friends who exploit situations to elevate themselves at your expense reveal self-interest over loyalty. Observing conflict resolution skills is also crucial. Loyalty is tested in disagreements, but it doesn't require manufactured conflicts. Natural disagreements will occur over opinions, preferences, or minor misunderstandings. Loyal friends approach conflicts with respect and a mindset rather than hostility. For instance, Emma and Leo had differing opinions about a volunteer project. Instead of arguing, Leo calmly discussed alternatives and respected Emma's perspective, strengthening their friendship. This behavior shows loyalty as a commitment to the relationship rather than to winning a point. Attention to emotional cues can further reveal loyalty. Loyal friends are attuned to your feelings, even without direct communication. They notice subtle signs of stress, fatigue, or happiness and respond thoughtfully. For example, Jessica observed her friend Paul seemed quieter than usual. He reached out with a caring message, demonstrating awareness and concern. This type of intuitive responsiveness shows loyalty without requiring tests or trials. Consistency in prioritizing the friendship over time is another strong indicator. Observe whether friends make an effort to maintain contact, offer support, and invest in the relationship even when it's inconvenient. Loyal friends don't measure interactions as transactions. Their actions reflect genuine care and commitment. Real-life example, Alex's friend Tanya consistently remembered important dates, followed up on conversations, and remained available during both good and challenging times. Over months, these actions revealed a dependable, loyal friendship. Naturally, finally, pay attention to their reactions to your independence. Loyal friends celebrate your autonomy and personal growth instead of feeling threatened or envious. For instance, when Sarah took up a new hobby that required her time and focus, her friend John supported her wholeheartedly, attending her exhibitions and showing interest without feeling neglected. True loyalty thrives in a relationship that respects individuality rather than imposing dependence. In conclusion, loyalty can be assessed through practical observation in everyday life without staging artificial trials. Key areas include respect for time and commitments, boundary awareness, financial integrity, support for growth, handling minor inconveniences, presence in celebrations and hardships, defense of reputation, conflict resolution, emotional attentiveness, consistency, and acceptance of independence. These behaviors, observed over time, reveal the natural loyalty of a friend and help you invest in relationships that are trustworthy, supportive, and genuine. One of the most overlooked but powerful ways to observe loyalty is through their willingness to apologize and forgive. True friends don't hold grudges over minor mistakes or misunderstandings. They acknowledge when they've made an error, apologize sincerely, and continue to invest in the friendship. Similarly, they extend forgiveness when you falter, without using past mistakes as ammunition. For example, Liam accidentally shared a minor misunderstanding about his friend Sophia, immediately recognized the mistake, apologized, and took steps to correct it. Sophia, in turn, forgave him without resentment. This cycle of mutual understanding reflects loyalty in its purest form, built on respect and integrity, rather than dramatic trials. Another practical and natural indicator is their reliability during unpredictable situations. Life is full of unplanned events, and observing who steps up without being asked can reveal a lot about loyalty. For instance, when a sudden family emergency required Mia to travel, her friend Carlos volunteered to manage her responsibilities at work temporarily. He did this not because of obligation, but because he valued her friendship. Loyal friends often show up in unscripted moments, demonstrating care and dependability without the need for tests. Active listening and presence also serve as subtle loyalty checks. Loyalty is not always about grand gestures, but often about being truly present. A friend who listens attentively, remembers what you share, and acts on your preferences demonstrates commitment to the relationship. Real-life example, when Emma mentioned she was struggling with a new routine, her friend Priya remembered the details weeks later and offered help without being reminded. This attentiveness reflects emotional investment, a hallmark of loyalty. Observe how they handle your mistakes in social settings. Loyal friends respond with discretion, support, and encouragement, rather than embarrassment or criticism. For example, during a minor misunderstanding at a group dinner, Raj's friend Anita calmly clarified the situation without making a scene, protecting Raj's dignity. Such actions indicate a deep respect for the friendship and a loyalty that doesn't require tests or manipulations. Shared enthusiasm and encouragement are another strong signal. Loyal friends celebrate your hobbies, achievements, and interests, even when they differ from their own. They actively participate in your joys without coercion. For instance, Kevin's friend Tara joined him for a weekend photography workshop, not out of obligation, but because she recognized its importance to him. This subtle but consistent support is an indicator of loyalty that is observable in everyday life. It's also useful to assess how they behave when you're going through a period of low social interaction. Some friendships thrive only when you are actively engaged socially. Loyal friends remain present even during quieter times. For example, when Alex decided to focus on personal projects and reduced social outings, his friend Tanya continued checking in with messages, occasional calls, and genuine concern, demonstrating that loyalty is about the relationship, not convenience. Notice their consistency in communication style. Loyalty isn't measured by grand gestures, but through habitual, reliable interactions. For instance, regular check-ins, thoughtful messages, and responsiveness to your needs reflect commitment. Sarah's friend John would consistently send good morning texts or follow-ups without any agenda. These small yet consistent behaviors, repeated over time, create a foundation of trust and loyalty. Another practical indicator is how they treat people who are less useful to them. True loyalty is often reflected in character, not personal gain. Observe if your friend is equally kind and respectful to acquaintances, colleagues, or strangers, not just to those who benefit them. Real life example: Priya noticed that her friend Ramesh treated new team members at work with the same kindness and respect he showed her. This integrity reinforces the idea that his loyalty wasn't conditional or flexibility and patience can also reveal loyalty. Life isn't always convenient, and friends face conflicting schedules, emergencies, or personal issues. A loyal friend adapts, shows patience, and remains supportive without complaining. For example, Emma's friend Leo adjusted his plans multiple times to accompany her to volunteer activities and never made her feel guilty for it. This flexibility, repeated over time, demonstrates genuine investment in the relationship. Observe how they act when you are being socially vulnerable. This could be sharing an unpopular opinion, revealing a fear, or admitting a mistake. Loyal friends provide a safe space without judgment. Real example: when Mia expressed doubts about a career move, her friend Carlos listened patiently, offered guidance, and didn't mock or dismiss her concerns. This safe space and supportive response reflect loyalty more accurately than any formal test. Consistency in actions versus words is a critical marker. Some people speak kindly, but act selfishly. Observe whether your friend's actions align with their words. For example, Kevin's friend Tara often promised to help but never followed through. In contrast, friends whose actions consistently match their supportive words are demonstrating loyalty in a tangible, observable way. Supporting your personal growth without envy is another practical indicator. Loyal friends celebrate your achievements, encourage learning, and help you improve without feeling threatened. For instance, when Raj learned a new skill and shared it with friends, Anita showed genuine curiosity and excitement, helping him practice and improve. Such actions indicate a loyalty rooted in encouragement rather than self-interest. Lastly, consider how they handle mutual friends or conflicts of interest. Loyalty isn't about isolating you from others, but about protecting your trust and integrity. Real-life example: Emma's friend Priya maintained fairness and honesty in shared social circles, preventing misunderstandings and advocating for transparency without creating tension. This kind of ethical, thoughtful behavior demonstrates loyalty naturally. In summary, loyalty is less about dramatic trials and more about patterns of consistent, trustworthy, and supportive behavior. Key areas to observe include willingness to apologize and forgive, reliability during unpredictable events, active listening, support during mistakes, celebration of successes, presence in low social periods, consistent communication, respect for others, flexibility, safe spaces for vulnerability, alignment of words and actions, encouragement of personal growth, and ethical behavior in social dynamics. These indicators allow you to assess friendship authenticity without artificial tests, stress, or manipulation. Ultimately, loyal friends are revealed through subtle, repeated actions over time. By observing natural behaviors, offering trust gradually, and valuing reciprocity, you can identify those who genuinely care about your well-being and invest in your relationship. Remember, loyalty is built on mutual respect, integrity, empathy, and consistency, not on staged trials or forced situations. By focusing on these practical, real-world indicators, you can cultivate a circle of friends who are reliable, supportive, and genuinely committed, enhancing both your personal life and emotional well-being.